What's going on, everybody? Leo here, and welcome back to the Diaz Traveling Show. We are on episode number 18, and we find ourselves in jolly old England. Yeah, this place is fantastic. We've been here several times before. Dominic's been here, I think, 3 times now, and every time we come back, it's a new place. There is so much to do. There's so much to see. And for us, it was virtually all in London. We didn't get a chance to go beyond that. We didn't rent a car or anything, but we did spend virtually all of our time here in London, and it was fantastic. We never found ourselves bored because there is just so much free stuff to do. It's not even funny how many things you can go and see and not even have to pay for anything. You do have to make reservations, like going to a lot of the museums, but other than that, it wasn't a hassle at all, and you could spend literally hours in some of these museums. There are some things that you do have to pay for, like some of the shows, but that in itself is actually quite worth it. We did find that it was a little bit expensive compared to a lot of the other places that we went to, but again, it's London, right? And that kind of comes with the territory. And another cool part of the trip is we got to see Uncle James and Aunt Susie. Now, we make it a mission to visit them every time we're out here, and this was no exception. And since we were here for a long time, we got to see them quite a few times and just hang out and catch up. And that made this trip that much more enjoyable. Now, London makes it so easy to fall in love with this place. It just has a very relaxed feel. It's so easy to get around. Now, mind you, it might take you a while to get from place to place, but everything is so accessible. Jumping on the tube to get to like museums, to get to any of the sites that you want to go visit. It's not cheap by any means, especially if you travel quite often. And as a tourist, it adds up quite easily. But that being said, to navigate around, once you get used to all the different lines and you kind of know where you're going, you can get there with no problems. What's also great is that London being a hub, it's easy for us to kind of go to any of the other countries that we want to go to, but also pay visits to fantastic places around the city. They had green spaces, like I said, all over the place, and we were never without one. So Dominic could go run and play, and we could just hang out and enjoy the day. We were actually quite surprised just how many green spaces London has, considering its population, but I'm so glad that it does have them. Now, being here for a little bit longer allowed us to get settled in and feel more at home with the city itself. We got to hang out with the people that we knew in the city. We got to go to pubs. We got to just not really worry about having to travel all the time. Instead, we got to hang out and be a tourist and really explore what the sites have to offer. And there is a lot, as I said, going from one place to another, there's always something to do. There's always something to see. People watching is fantastic when you're there. You can go to any of the squares. You can just walk down the street, and it's so entertaining and it's so exciting to see kind of what's going on. And I guess with the warmer weather, that also helped with the experience. Now, one thing to note about London, despite its huge population and its massive land area and just its size and how to get around, it is really, really well organized. Even though you're walking through these crowds of people, you're riding on the tube, and sometimes you are crammed in there, smelling other people's armpits and whatnot, or you're riding the bus or whatever, walking down the street. It is so packed everywhere you go, but in proper British form, it actually works, and it works really well. It's very well organized. People carry out the expectations of, for the most part, how they're supposed to behave. Going to any of the malls, the shows, or wherever it is you're going, everything is so prim and proper. And ask Donna, I am the epitome of prim and proper. And that concludes our stay in London. We had an absolutely fantastic time. It felt a lot more like home for a bit because we were able to do some of the things that we normally do at home and just kind of not feel like we were traveling all the time. But we're off and running again, so until then, stay tuned and stay safe.